Morning, this is the headwaters of Sycamore Creek. I'm going to break here to talk a little anime.
Simone.
Simone is a recent alternate world fantasy anime series. It's released in North America by Media Blasters with English subtitles. In the imaginative world of Simone, everyone is born female. In the country of Kyokuku, when teens become adults at age 17, they go to a sacred place called the Spring, and there they choose their final gender in a religious ritual. This dominance of pretty young female characters provides a strong eerie content to the show. In addition, the character designs make the characters look even younger than the script claims, making it also a lolicom look as well. But if you'll indulge me for a moment, I'd like to suggest that the plot and characters may also be worthy of attention. The people of Kyokuku worship Tempest Spatium. Some time ago, in an era shrouded in mystery and legend, they found some ancient artifacts called helical motors, which were set into pairs on flying machines called simoons. These are considered divine gifts of Tempest Spatium. The elite among Tempest Spatium's young priestesses, those who have not yet gone to the spring, can become Simone Cilia. These fly the chariots of the gods, an act they call speaking to the Simone, and use them to inscribe holy symbols in the sky called rimajang. It's a sort of divine skywriting they call praying to the sky. Some of these patterns unleash great power. Simone is the story of Core Tempest, an elite among the church's teams of 12 of these Cilia. 6 Simone, with 2 Cilia each, seems to be the ideal number for inscribing these holy rimajang to Tempest Spatium into the sky. Core Tempest's leader, the Cilia Aurea, is Neveril. She's the creme de la creme of Cilia, and also a bit of a drama queen, as we'll soon find out. The story starts just as a neighboring nation invades. They've made some flying machines of their own based on technology. They're not as fast or as nimble as the Holy Simone, but since they aren't divine gifts, they can build as many of them as they want, and they want quite a few. The story begins with a brief scene narrated by an invading pilot, which will help us to keep from demonizing them completely as faceless invaders. But now that the war has come, the military wants to use the power of the Simone Cilia and the power of their rimajang as weapons to repulse the invaders. The church isn't quite as keen on this idea.
いかに素晴らしい祈り手でありましょうと、戦に使われていては伝統を汚しているだけです。九主様、神に捧げられるべき祈りをこともあろうに戦のシムーンを国境に備えることでテンプスパティウムの意向を示し。
Soon, the priestesses who thought of themselves as vessels of prayer become weapons of war. Those luxury ships designed for observing the holy ceremonies of the gods are turned into something akin to aircraft carriers by the military, and the holy Cilia become more like combat pilots than priestesses. But once these priestesses are pressed into holy combat, the inevitable happens. There are deaths, and a Simone is finally shot down. This is a crisis of faith because a Simone can't fall. There are other, more subtle changes to the church because of this war. To keep their best weapon, the Cilia are no longer sent to the spring when they reach their 17th birthday. That's sort of an ecclesiastical stop-loss order. To recruit new Cilia, there are many newcomers to the ranks, some of whom wouldn't be there in peacetime. Some, such as Mamina, are from the lower classes, girls who could never have hoped to become elite Cilia and priestesses before the war. Other newcomers aren't really priestesses at all, but more like secular pilots. One, Morenas, is more of a geek than a priestess. She's curious about how the Simone fly. But chief among the new breed of secular Cilia is Ire. She's an ace pilot from the borderlands who wants only to fly Simone. She doesn't speak of them in religious terms, and she just wants to fly higher and further than anyone else. And to do that, she wants to pair with the best. Her arrival in Core Tempest is going to be yet another disruptive force.
あんたもテンペスト？本当に誰も出撃してこないんだもの。私一人で。
シムーンシビラが空を飛ぶときは空に祈るという。出撃などという言葉は使わぬよう。
Simone has a lot of plot themes going on, big and small. Does the conflict between the church and state over its role in the war? Does Tempus Spadium take sides? Are priestesses weapons? Then there's the progress of the war itself and the individual conflicts involving Core Tempus. There's the mystery of the Simone itself. Are they really divine gifts from the gods? Are they advanced technology from some alien or prior civilization? Or are they just magic? And then there's the mystery of the very special Rimajang, the legendary and prohibitively dangerous Emerald Rimajang. There's plenty of interesting things going on in this storyline. On a smaller, personal scale, Simone also tells the story of over a dozen Sibylla of Core Tempus, their changing relationships, fears and aspirations, sorrows and joys. Neville and Ire and their ever-evolving relationship are central to the story, but they're surrounded by a bevy of interesting supporting characters who have relationships of their own, and it's surprising how many of these characters the plot can deal with all at once. You know, when all the characters have the same gender, you get a lot more possible pairings to mess with, too. We're lucky each of the characters has been drawn with a unique hair color, so we can keep them all straight. And if you're looking for some Yuri action, well, there's plenty of kissing going on. It's part of their pre-flight checklist. The series will manage to wrap up most of this plot in a mere 26 episodes, with a conclusion that wasn't at all what I expected starting out. The artwork by Studio Dean is a mixed story. I like the imaginative mechanical designs of the Simone and the other related helical engine-based transportation, such as this helical train, and I thought their CGI animation was blended well with the rest of the work. I also like much of the imaginative work on the alternate world, its buildings and customs. I did wish the characters had been drawn, well, a little more mature looking, closer to their actual stated ages. Based on the storyline, they should look more like a high school and not an elementary school. I found a good deal to frown at in director Junichi Ichimura's animation. When I saw this scene in the animation, using a sudden fade to a still frame, I immediately thought the man was channeling Osamu Dezaki. In the commentary track, Ishimura calls these stills harmonies, and he denies that he's trying to be a disciple of Dezaki. I didn't think the technique really worked here, unless its point was to reduce production costs and make up for schedule, but I didn't really care for it. The background music is an odd collection featuring some New Age religious themes and a lot of early 20th century European-style street music, including a tango played incongruously on what sounds to me like an accordion. The opening song is by Chiaki Ishikawa, whose stylings I seem to be listening to quite a bit these days. Overall, I give Simone 4 stars. I'd usually dismiss such a mix of Yuri and Wally, but I found the setting imaginative, the plots were interesting, and I liked several of the characters. So I enjoyed watching it, and I suggest sci-fi and fantasy fans might actually find it interesting themselves if they can look past the cover art. Media Blasters has packed all 26 episodes onto just 5 DVDs, and since it's just English subtitled without a dub, the price is nice. 3 of the DVDs include commentary by the director and character designer. But if I sounded like I thought this might be more sophisticated than I expected, then you can dispel that idea immediately by watching the talking lollipops on the DVD extras. Thanks for listening.